Welcome back to Start Here with UDL. Once again, I'm going to give a plug for the University of Kansas Center for Research and Learning Strategic Instruction Model SIM group. So many of us are familiar with SIM for like the planning routines, like Unit Organizer, but a lot of folks don't know that they also have social skills for cooperative groups, one of which is SCORE, which is one of the most, to me, important strategies to use in the classroom. This is, in fact, a learner-owned strategy, so you can use it as part of your first 20 days. It is a great one to use across a grade level, across a building, and it includes teaching students to share their ideas, to complement one another, to offer help or encouragement, recommend changes nicely, and exercise self-control. Now, there is a book that goes with this. I've put the link. They do recommend a short PD session. I would be more than happy to help you with that. Just reach out. No big deal. And all of the materials that you need are actually inside of the book. The cue cards, the lessons, you can adapt it to match your group. There is the research that you can see inside the book when you first open it up, and it talks about fourth grade classes that increase their ability to communicate with one another. This is so important for us right now because discourse is at the front of mind for all of us. For students to be able to engage in claim evidence reasoning, for them to engage in sense-making strategies, we need them to be able to talk to another person and a little bit more than think pair. They also need to be able to revise an idea. They need to be able to work in a group when things might be difficult. I'm thinking about science circles and math tasks. Students are working with some manipulatives and they're trying to decide, if we go down this path and it doesn't work out, it's okay. We can revise our thinking. Things get tense. To exercise self-control might take a little bit of support. And so when we have something like the SCORE strategy, what we can do is give students something that they own and internalize, and then they can get better at over time. And so one of the things we have to remember with learner-owned strategies is students aren't going to be able to do them right away. What we'll need to do is give proximate goals so that they can see, all right, I'm getting better at this, and I'm getting better at this, and I struggle with this. This is a strength for me. This is a little bit harder. And we can do that as an adult right this minute. Think of yourself as a learner. Think of yourself as an employee. So when do you have a strength in sharing ideas? Where might you struggle in sharing ideas? Where do you find it's easy to compliment others? Where do you find that maybe you feel awkward complimenting others? Is this my place to compliment others? Where do you find it very easy to offer help and encouragement? And where do you find it challenging? And you wouldn't put yourself out there? Where would you find it easy to recommend changes nicely? And where do you maybe just tell people to change or not say anything at all and just let nothing happen? And then, of course, for exercising self-control, that's just an ongoing thing for all of us. Some self-control is deciding that I'm going to speak, and some self-control might be deciding I'm not going to speak. So when you think about SCORE, it is a life skill, matches nicely to the 21st century skills. You could use this from fourth grade all the way up through college. And the materials are in fact in the book. So this is a perennial strategy that folks have been using for years. In terms of UDL, our goal is in fact to increase learner agency and independence. Students can choose the SCORE strategy to do all kinds of things, but within the literacy curriculum, they can help them with their collaboration skills and their oral communication skills to be part of a community of learners that are processing, making sense of things, and interpreting content together. And that sounds like a minor thing, but it's in fact the entire purpose of having our ELA standards in support of math, science, social studies, and CTE, and health and PE. Like all of our content areas need this community of learners processing, making sense of things, and interpreting content together. It does help with collaborative discussions. I will point out the word sustained collaborative discussions and circle back just for a minute. So if you've been sticking at turn to your neighbor and think pair, a sustained discussion like a math task or a scientific investigation investigation is tougher. When you're sharing ideas and offering help and or encouragement and recommending changes nicely, that means revision and new ideas is probably in here. So when we're thinking about when to use a score strategy, we're also thinking about fanboys and awoobas and accountable talk and all these other things. So this is part of a learner strategy toolkit where students are pulling from things as they need them. And one of those is going to be this social emotional piece, which is score. And we'll take one more look. If you looked down at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 at the bottom, listening actively is a challenge for students. So trying to figure out how to be present, working effectively and respectfully by building on others' ideas and actively contributing. Let's circle back just so we can see that. So that is that I've shared my ideas, I'm listening and I'm complimenting others. I am offering help when students need it, when other students need it. I am offering encouragement when other students need it. And please note, this is the students offering each other help and encouragement. This is not the teacher offering help and encouragement. So when we're going to teach SCORE through a gradual release of responsibility, we're teaching students to be their own teachers, which is what Hattie was talking about in visible learning with the visible learning model. Jumping down to asking and responding to probing questions, that means students are asking questions and students are responding questions. They're providing appropriate feedback in a structured discussion. When we're talking about a structured discussion, SCORE is really helpful because that gets that back and forth with recommending changes nicely and sharing their ideas, which is hard for students. They have to learn that piece. Not every student wakes up every day pleasant, just like every adult doesn't wake up that way. And that gets down to number 4 with agreement or tactful disagreement, using carefully constructed statements. SCORE goes really well with accountable talk or some version of those sentence stems, and then the reflection in response to ideas that are being shared. So highly recommend the SCORE strategy. If you think about SIM strategies as being mostly the ones that are content related, this is a nice cross-curricular one for cooperative groups, and it's good for 4th grade all the way to adults.